What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly, Vanilli, and Kevil. Kevil promised me that he will rant tonight, so you might have to stay tuned for his rant. We're not exactly sure what it's going to be about, so it could pop off at any second. We'll see. But what was that, Dylan?
That's
He's
not
excited. He's excited for this.
I just love how you promote that.
Oh, no. That wasn't me. So let's review Raw. January 23rd, 2017. We have the go home show for the Royal Rumble in 2017, and it's Goldberg. He's going to be on the show. We're not sure, although I thought Brock Lesnar was announced for the show, but it sounded like they didn't announce him for the show. We'll talk about that. We have a surprise appearance by a certain legend on the show, the Undertaker. So that we're going to talk about that at the end. A couple cruiserweight things, some big match kind of hype with the women's title, the Universal title. Not a lot of hype for anything else, but we'll get into that as well. So overall, guys, what did we think of the build-up to the Royal Rumble? Did we think that this show was a good go-home show? And, of course, we'll get into the nitty-gritty details of the show, and we'll give our review and rating at the end. But overall, just looking at it and watching it, were you entertained? Going into the Royal Rumble, are you excited?
Mitch, there's a key word that you described this show. What kind of show was this one tonight?
I don't know. A go-home show?
Go home.
There you go. Go-home show is the word. So the key for a go-home show is to invest your fans in the storylines, get them with one last little build to the pay-per-view, and get you excited, not to spend $60, because that's not what we're going to have to do, but to watch 4 hours of wrestling instead of 3. And if you want to watch the pre-show, you got to watch 6 hours. So they want you to get excited. Did Raw accomplish that? No, not really. The Royal Rumble match, it did get me excited for that. So that's one goal. That's a very big goal. And they got me excited for something that's going to happen later on, which is good, but also negative because it's not going to happen on the Rumble. However, the build-up to a lot of the undercard matches just fell flat. And it's also because that's what they've been doing this entire month, basically, besides the Royal Rumble match. They just haven't been booking it well. The main event feud for the Universal Championship, again, rinse and repeat with the same 5 shit all over again. It's like, all right, we have 5 things we can do. Just like kind of shuffle it in every single week. Like we have to incorporate all 5, but use it in a different way. Like, Jesus Christ. Cruiserweight division, trash. Although Neville's gonna win, so I'll be happy about that. Charlotte Bayley, not trash, but not great. Didn't get me excited for that. The main event feud, trash. Other than the fact that Jericho's in there, it just Royal Rumble match did succeed, but this doesn't. So majority of the show did not get me hyped for the 4-hour pay-per-view spectacle that is Royal Rumble.
Dylan.
Yes.
I'm going to stop you right here. You said that you're excited for the Royal Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't write a single segment for the Royal Rumble match and told you that Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, who else? I don't know. Whoever you want is in this Royal Rumble match, would you be excited without me doing anything?
Exactly. Yes, I would. So they didn't have to do anything. Come on, Kevil. You wouldn't be excited if Goldberg and all these other people weren't in the Raw.
I think the Royal Rumble match, let me get to what I'm trying to say here, Kev. So what I'm trying to say is the Rumble match sells itself because it's the Rumble match and it has all these guys in it, not the writing selling the match. The writing did not sell the match. The people in the match sold the match. Get you?
I sort of, yes, I understand kind of what you're saying, but you also remember the last 3 years have been complete debacles that I think that the Royal Rumble has lost a little bit of its luster. You look back to the Daniel Bryan should have winning, not even being in the Royal Rumble 3 years ago. Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble should have 2 years ago now. And they're even adding The Rock to it. I think that the match has lost a little bit of its luster. That I think that there's maybe a lack of trust in the booking quality of WWE right now, that even with all of these stars in it, that they can pull off a quality Royal Rumble. I think that there's a healthy cynicism about this.
And most of that has to do with the writing.
Yes. Like I think that the performers, in terms of the Royal Rumble quality,
people are excited for this Rumble is not because the writing is great. It's because, oh, hey, Lesnar's in the Rumble. Oh, hey, Goldberg's in the Rumble. Oh, hey, Taker's in the Rumble. The last 3 years, it's the same writing. It's the same people booking the show. It's the same Royal Rumble. It's the same concept. It's the same match. But what's the difference? We have Taker, we have Lesnar, we have Goldberg. That is why people care this year. That is, like, we knew Triple H wasn't going to win, or was going to win last year. We knew Reigns was going to win the year before that. This year, it's different and it's mixed, and we don't know who's going to win because Taker, Goldberg, and Lesnar are in the match.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and this can go a number of different ways, which I think we'll talk about going forward. But I still think that there's a bit of cynicism towards how they can still screw this up.
It would be difficult.
Silver platter. Like, they can't be this fucking stupid.
Oh, Dylan.
Come on. I have a little more faith in
Dylan.
It's a promotion. It's a cross promotion. SmackDown's there. Maybe they'll have some talks with them. I don't know.
Dylan.
I'm trying to be positive. I'm not going to be very positive, but I'm trying.
Arian's in the chat. What's going on, Arian?
Hey.
He's usually on here. Nice to see you again. He's talking about some things that happened on the show, which we'll get to in just a little bit. We're all doing good, I think. We're all doing good, right?
We're all doing good. Yeah, you know, I had my first voiceover audition today. It was pretty good.
There you go. Kev's living it up.
Living it up. Living dreams here.
We're doing good. Got the new job. You know, everything's going well here.
Okay, so Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Okay, let's go. Roman Reigns promo. Starting the show. What a better way to get fans more invested
I turned on the TV.
Roman Reigns come out and cut a promo.
I turned on the TV, and I just got home from training. 30 minutes in, and I'm like, oh my God, did I turn on last week's episode? I was like,
oh, that's literally what the first 30 minutes felt like. I was like, is this last week's Raw?
This is it. This is it. I am.
What, Kev?
I know that people are in love with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and I love this, and people have been so enamored with this. But this is enough. I am sick and tired of them starting this show. This has been 12 straight weeks of Jericho, Owens, and Reigns starting the show. It's actually getting, even this Jericho Owens storyline is actually getting boring.
Yes.
it was already.
Thank you.
And
I was thinking the same thing. While I was watching Jericho and Owens perform, I'm like, this is the same promo they cut for 12 weeks. It's the same thing they're doing, same comedy, same lines. And even Jericho, as great as he is, almighty GOAT, he cannot pull something off that is so repetitive and it's the same segment every week. It is so hard to make people interested in that. I was so frustrated at watching the show, and I'm like, I feel bad for these guys. Even Kevin Owens, who I am not the biggest fan of. I still don't mind Kevin Owens, but I mean, like, I feel bad for these wrestlers. The writing is awful.
Yeah,
Kev, continue.
It's just you're starting with the same. It's like you're watching, if you're doing a Netflix binge of Daredevil, or I'll use Daredevil because this is a great example. Daredevil never started with Daredevil always in the beginning. It either started with Wilson Fisk or the Punisher or something else to give us a little bit more of an interest as we go through a 3-hour session. We're starting with the same thing all the time. And they haven't deviated from it. This is the first week that they actually used their shark cage, which is, I don't even understand why they have the shark cage. I think it's quite clear that the shark cage is not going to add anything to this match.
Kev, the shark cage is from 1977, the same place where Raw is stuck in.
Well, that could be, but it's so repetitive. 5 minutes of Roman Reigns is enough on a promo. I don't know why the WWE continues to try to give him 7 to 8. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. It's an experiment gone bad, and it's affecting Owens and Jericho, who are two really talented people. But this story is getting boring, especially with some of the other stuff that has happened tonight that we'll talk about. This has probably become one of the stalest things on Raw, if not the stalest thing in all of WWE right now.
Please. This is my fear. I said this to Dylan. It looks more and more like Jericho's going to win the Royal Rumble. And I was like, I don't want this match to be for the Universal title.
I'm going to bring up a different theory a little bit later at the end of the show. I have a theory of what might happen. I'm going to save it to the end.
Okay, let's get to some comments. Arian's been blowing up the chat here. So he says it was an improvement, but still garbage. Why the fuck did they have Seth versus Zayn and Jericho versus Roman behind the cruiserweights?
Good fucking question. No idea.
And he says it has to do with the wrestlers with no stature, no charisma, like Sami fucking Zayn with that nobody gives a fuck about.
Bro!
Raw is repetitive. Hashtag no one gives a fuck about Kevin Owens. He looks like an average person, not a WWE champion. Wrestling was hot when guys who look like champions were superstars like The Rock and Hogan.
Can I give you a comment?
He said, this is the last one. It's because they have a 3-hour show. They give minutes away that they don't give a shit about. Excuse my swearing.
Let me give you my fact here. I just checked this up. This is real facts here on the Bottom Line View. From November 21st, 2016 to right now, the combination of Jericho, Rollins, Owens, and Reigns have wrestled against each other every single Raw up until right now.
Do you guys understand, viewers out there, do you guys understand why I come on and I make occasional rants where I'm like, why do we have matches that are going to be on the pay-per-view every single week? Once we get to the Royal Rumble, we don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens because we've seen it 327 times. I don't want to see. We're going to get to a match in particular with a certain bald-headed fellow and another bald-headed fellow that I feel like is just overdone. Like, it's ridiculous. WWE, get your head out of your ass. Be creative.
2 months of repetitive bullshit.
And I haven't even got over this segment. So Roman Reigns gets in the ring and he talks about going one-on-one with Kevin Owens. And that basically means he's going to win the title because he's Roman Reigns and he beats everybody in the world. Owens comes out. He gets a loud applause, which I have no idea why, honestly. And then I put Cleveland, the home of the mark, ? And I have Y2J chance as he comes out. Yep, I would be doing the same thing. Kev says, how many people can say that they powerbomb Roman Reigns through the announce table? One is only me. Jericho says he's got a prediction. You're a stupid idiot. He talks about being in the shark cage and beating Reigns for the U.S. title. Jericho calls himself a very sexy pinata. Owens makes the rematch between Jericho and Reigns for tonight's show. The only productive thing that happened in this 20-minute segment was that Owens made the rematch for Chris Jericho where Chris Jericho was not happy about it happening. That was the only story development of this entire feud that ended up happening. And it wasn't even story development between Reigns and Owens. It was story development between Jericho and Owens. That's it. We have had no friction between Reigns or Owens whatsoever. The only thing that their friction over is, a guy put him through a table and, I've been wrestling your best friend. That's the only thing that's happened. Why are they mad at each other? What is the personal connection between these two? I get that they're fighting for the title and Reigns wants the title and all that stuff, but why should he hate Owens? Why should Owens hate Reigns? I don't get it.
Even better
question. Confused. I just watched a Raw where Kane said if he loses, he's going to light himself on fire. That's a little bit better than this. I'm just going to be honest.
Hey, even better? Why should I care? This feud is ridiculously boring. To the fact where everybody's gotten diminished. Like Jericho, love the man. He's GOAT, right? But he just they give him the same shit. Oh my god, these writers are stupid idiots, honestly. It's ridiculous. Every single week I'm like, did I just put on another episode of November Raw or December Raw? It's ridiculous. Change this shit up.
You know what the most eye-opening thing is? That you go to, you bring a person like Jake on the review and you ask them what the first and last thing on the show will be, and they guessed it. And also, Jake misses 4 months. He comes back and nothing has changed. Nothing. That is insane. What is the point of me watching every single week and reviewing it if it's the same show and nothing has happened?
Foreshadowing. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not like the Jericho Owens story advancements. I mean, we know where this is going. We have some theories even where this is going, but I think it's not enough for us to care anymore. I think in some ways they've done a really good job in carrying the storyline for a lengthy period of time, but it's gone on too long.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, Kev. It's gone on way too long.
Even if you would have for another 2 months because we have to get to Mania.
Well, even if they even broke this up in 2 or 3 weeks and have Jericho and Owens not be together, and just have separate feuds and come back to it, even if you did 3 weeks, Jericho, just put this in theory, if Jericho was going to win the Rumble, you have 3 weeks they're not together, then all of a sudden Jericho wins the Rumble, Owens wins that Universal title match. It's not in people's heads that this is a possibility. And then all of a sudden it becomes a possibility. And then people are like, interesting. I remember when they were friends. What's going to happen to our friends, right? And then you can go back to that story. But they just continued with the story. And I think now by the time it even gets to Fastlane, the story's dead. The story doesn't have WrestleMania legs anymore. To the point, I don't think it's actually going to be a WrestleMania match. I think we're going to see the culmination of it at Fastlane. That's what I'm got from.
That's a really depressing ending.
I could actually just see them being best friends at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I could see it lasting that long. I could see it where they don't want to do the match because they feel like it's just a waste now.
Everything here is a fucking waste.
Well, no, they have to do the match. They have to go to the end here. But it's just, and you know what? There was a real. This is the biggest missed opportunity here, and this is where I get on the writers a little bit because this is lazy writing. Chris Jericho is considered one of the GOATs, and he's probably on one of his last runs.
I would hope so.
And you're not telling us possible story of him getting his final championship.
This is depressing when we're talking about Jericho like this. I know you're talking about writers, but
I brought this up to you, Dylan. Though we'll see it later in the segment. I said it's like I hate the way that they book Jericho because every week he goes out there and he gets burned every week. He's the hottest performer on the show, and every week Roman Reigns spear.
We'll talk about the segment later on.
Superman punch.
With the short cage.
Kevin Owens sets him up to lose a match. I mean, every time.
Can we move on?
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. I mean, I understand that people are having the Undertaker last ride, it feels. But there was an opportunity here to tell the Jericho story, and they haven't told it. And they dropped the ball on this one.
Arian says SmackDown does a successful job of bringing the mid-carders to the main event feud with Corbin and The Miz. Raw should do that. Oh, wait. They are mid-card as Sami Toothpaste Zayn.
What is this man's hate for Sami?
He's a taxi driver. I don't know. Maybe Zayn got mad at him when he didn't tip him one time. I don't know. All right.
Wait, well then why would he be mad at Sami?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Sami should be mad at Aaron.
Yeah, Sami would be mad at him.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know. Sami like hit him with a steel chair because he didn't tip him one time. I don't know.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
See, that was better writing in one made up story than Raw. Gallows versus Cesaro. Okay, this was the match I was talking about. One bald guy versus another bald guy. And we have these two in a match because why? We've seen every other possible match leading up to the Royal Rumble, so that's what we're doing. What happened to the bar fight? What are these guys' characters? Why does Cesaro come out in a tux? I'm just going to say that every week.
Can I bring this up real quick?
I'm going to say, why does Cesaro come out in a suit every single week until they tell us why?
So you're going to be here for 56 years. I want to ask this question. Who cares about this match after we realize this is going to be on the kickoff? The tag
match is going to be on the kickoff, yeah.
The tag team title match, where they have two referees in for some stupid reason, is going to be on the kickoff show, which, by the way, they want fans to spend another 2 hours to watch. Sam, I don't got.
What could possibly make a pre-show 2 hours? The pre-show of the Super Bowl isn't even 2 hours.
Fam, I don't even have time to. I barely have enough time to watch 4 hours and then review this stuff. Okay, I have fun reviewing here, but holy shit, you want another 2 hours from us? Hell to the no. And on top of that, who cares about this match? Like Mitch said, we've seen it 6,000 times with the variation of the 4 guys. So it's just like the main event feud. Rinse, repeat, rinse, rinse, repeat. Holy shit.
I think it's lack of creativity and it's just not trying. It's no effort.
Lazy.
Like, okay, we're just going to let the talent be the talent. We're just going to let them wrestle because we can't write anything to make them compelling.
Here's what would have been a compelling segment for this.
Okay.
It's not a match. Listen to this. Listen to this idea.
Okay.
Listen. Sheamus and Cesaro are at the bar, and the club comes in, and they argue about who won that match, and they get into an actual bar fight. Wouldn't that make more sense? Wouldn't that have been more entertaining? More entertaining than what we saw tonight?
Anything is more entertaining, but yes, it was. I like that.
It was more entertaining when you said bar.
Yeah.
Bar.
Which was the first word you said.
Bar.
Okay. Let's continue. Mick Foley on the phone with Stephanie McMahon. Foley is talking about the Reigns match later on tonight. Sami Zayn walks in, the taxi driver. He's fresh back from picking up Goldberg from the airport. He walks in and he asks how he needs to get into the Royal Rumble or how he needs to approach joining the Royal Rumble. And it's kind of like a weak excuse for why Sami Zayn was there, because on SmackDown and every other show every other week, all you have to do is say, I'm entering the Royal Rumble, and then you're in.
Okay, so I don't like that. However, I did kind of like this segment. As much as I hate this show,
this is what I liked about it, because we had Mick Foley talking to Stephanie on the phone, and then Stephanie was talking to Zayn on the phone. So I like that part of it, but I didn't like the logic.
Okay. The logic makes absolutely no sense.
Stephanie then says that Zayn will need to earn his way in, and he needs to face Seth Rollins. I like that part of it. That's fine, but like the logic makes no sense. Zayn, just go out there and say, I'm in the Royal Rumble. If you would have done that and said, Mick, I'm joining the Royal Rumble, or went out there and was like, I'm in the Royal Rumble, and then Stephanie comes out and says,
that's what I'm thinking. Then it would have made more sense.
It would have made more sense.
But her not there played into something a little bit later tonight too. So
there you go, Kendall.
There it is.
Okay. Next.
Can I just say Mick Foley looks really sharp?
He does.
Nice. He looks very
sharp. He's drastically improved with the haircut and trimming his beard, for sure.
I like.
And losing weight.
Goals.
Something that Kevin Owens could learn. And Bailey interview. Okay, so Bailey, the first word I have here is wow, because I'm just because that's what Bailey said, and I was like, okay, where is she going with this? She's like, okay, so she does the whole Bailey is a fan promo, and she talks about how she was an indie wrestler and she finally got to the WWE and now she's living her dreams. She had a lot of memories and stuff about being in the WWE or watching the Royal Rumble and, you know, all that stuff. She did the same sort of promos she did last week. She says, the part that I did like about this was when she was talking about, I'm not Charlotte Flair, I'm Bailey. You know, we're kind of getting to know what her character is a little bit more these last couple of weeks. She's Bailey, and Kev was right. I guess her character is that she is her. That's fine. But at least they're giving us some background to it. But the beginning, I hate how now that there's a lot of indie wrestlers getting into the WWE, I hate the angle of all the wrestlers being like, I'm so happy to be in the WWE. I don't care about anything else. I'm just happy to be here. It's like the Atlanta Falcons going to the Super Bowl and being like, I'm happy to be in the Super Bowl. I don't care about winning. You know, it's like the wrestlers going in and being like, I don't care about being the absolute best. Which, if you listen to every single big superstar over like the past history of WWE, whether it was Hogan or Macho Man or freaking Sting or Goldberg or The Rock or Stone Cold or Triple H, they always said, the reason why I'm a wrestler, I want to be the best. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, why did they hate each other? Because they both thought they were the best.
But anyways, I want to bring up something. Triple H once said in a promo, or not in a promo, but in an interview, he said, you know what? If you're not here to win the WWE Championship and be number one, you shouldn't be in this company. And there's the point right there. Of course,
I have to disagree with you guys about Bailey's promo, though. I didn't get that from this. I got that she started off with this, that she was.
Kev, I just don't like that it's so repetitive across the globe of all these wrestlers. Sami Zayn.
Let me finish here, though, because I don't think that this promo was about Bailey's dream. It was partially about being the fan, but if you got to the end of this promo, she said that she wants to win. She got to, so she started the promo as if, yes, I'm a fan, but she got to, I want to be the best at the end. That's the character to develop in a Brady. And I think that the star of both of these interviews tonight were not Bailey and Charlotte. It was actually Corey Graves, but he did a great job.
Oh, Corey Graves, I thought was awful.
Oh, I disagree. I thought
he was absolutely terrible.
No, I
thought he was okay in the Charlotte one.
He was very mundane to me. He didn't really.
He was
matter.
Just.
It was a scripted questionnaire, but I thought that the question got us to where we got.
Bro, Charlie.
I know, but Charlie's better for your eyes. I understand that, but I didn't. I really liked how Corey Graves carried the questions tonight. It got us to where we need to go to both understand what Bailey's motivation in this and Charlotte's motivation in this, and we'll get to that a little bit.
I want to ask you a question. Did Tom Brady get drafted in the 6th round and say I was happy to be in the NFL?
I don't think that people even knew that Tom Brady was. They thought he was Kyle Brady. Nobody knew who this guy was.
That is true. That's what Robert Kraft called him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, legend.
I'm sure. I mean, Jamarcus Russell said he was going to be the greatest football player of all time.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jamarcus Russell was in the NFL, got paid, and he's like, "I'm cool. I want to retire."
Guys, Jamarcus Russell's the best quarterback of our generation.
Okay. Arian says, I think Bailey could be a great psycho like Mickie James. She has the exciting and getting too close personality. Interesting.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see her as a heel, I guess. I don't know.
I think you need to go through the face run first.
Yeah, you're going to go for a long face run with Bailey.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, Hogan brother or like something. I don't know.
Eventually, in like a year or so, you'll see Bailey coming out with a towel going like this and then going in the camera and saying, respect.
You should have some kind of bullshit mantra.
Yeah. Arian says Corey Graves doesn't have the heel voice.
He's too like back and forth. He's too much of a tweener. JBL's.
I think that's the direction he's been given, though. I don't think they want him to be over heel, but I think they want him to be kind of heel and be somewhat analyst too.
I mean, if they're gonna give,
he's better than Byron Saxton.
If they're gonna give a play-by-play commentator a fucking heel role in Michael Cole, why not give it to Corey? I don't understand.
My dog could be better than Byron Saxton.
And by the way, do not even bring up that fucking trash name of an announcer. Like, I want to be an announcer for somewhere, and just he's going to be a disgrace to every company possible. God. Load of trash. Moving on.
We have some comments. She sounds like a kid. Bailey.
Yes, of course she sounds like a kid because that's who they're trying to appeal with Bailey. Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to get out of that. She's appealing to kids.
She's also appealing to weird guys on Twitter that really like her booty because she's cute.
We're going to bring up the same dude over and over
again.
Okay,
let's move on. Seth Rollins is backstage with Mick Foley.
Yo.
So we have, this was not bad. We have the whole thing where Mick Foley comes up to Seth and he's like, if Sami wins, he's in, and Seth, if you lose, you're out of the Royal Rumble. And Rollins is kind of like, I know my path. You know, I need to throw it back in Stephanie's face and Triple H's face. I need to win. I need to go to Mania, and I need to win at Mania and become the champion. So for me, this is actually something that the one rewrite that I did, I just realized I didn't really want to do it every week because the show sucks so much. I don't want to deal with it. But the one rewrite that I did do was like something not similar to this, but the same sort of words coming out of Rollins' mouth. Just he needs to be more repetitive. I know it's a very repetitive show, but we need to know the goal of Seth Rollins. And the goal of Seth Rollins is to piss off Triple H, is to prove Triple H wrong, that Seth Rollins is the guy or the man, and to win the title at Mania and, you know, stick it right in Triple H's face. So we need to hear that more from Seth Rollins. We've kind of got off track a couple weeks. We hear it every once in a while. But I want to hear it more often from Rollins, like more motivation and more motive from Rollins because of Triple H.
Okay, I'm not going to complain a lot about this whole feud because we're going to talk about some good segments later on. But yeah. Seth Rollins has to be considered one of the dumbest wrestlers in the entire planet. How is this man not figured out where Triple H is? In kayfabe, Triple H has said multiple times his location.
Yeah, I know. I hate that Triple H is like on Twitter posting pictures with NXT people, and then Seth Rollins doesn't know where he is.
No, and he's even responded to one. There was one where he goes right after the UK tournament. He's like, "I'm heading to Raw. See you soon." And then Rollins comments, ... Interesting. Are you blind, man? Like,
yeah, that's not helping his circumstance. Yeah, this segment wasn't bad though. This interaction I didn't mind at all.
I did like the whole little segment in between.
Yeah. I liked it also too because they didn't give that away the previous segment. They saved it for this, which was good.
Yes.
Okay. We have Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn, a competitive, fast-paced match. One of the best Raw matches I've seen in a minute. It was good. I still don't think. I think if this was on SmackDown, you would have been like, "Oh, it was pretty good." But on Raw, it was like, "Oh, this is the best match on the show."
Well, yeah, I want to say that this match had one word that we always talk about on SmackDown, right? Tension, because it
had tension and it also had purpose.
I was about to say it had a storyline built into it where we could care. It actually had two, where it was like, oh, they brought up the fact that this is friend versus friend, foe versus foe. So you wanted to do that on Raw. And on top of that, you got the Royal Rumble stipulation with Sami and Seth. Not complicated. Good shit. All right? I like this. One of the few segments I like.
This was the first part of the show where you're like, oh, Raw did something a little bit different. Or, you know, it's interesting. You're actually paying attention to see what happens because of the multiple scenarios that's happening. So Rollins hits a pedigree on the apron, which was pretty cool. They had a lot of spots, like big spots and near 3 counts, but there are a lot of kickouts. It kind of had like a pay-per-view match booking, but it was a good match, and both guys were great. Never going to say anything about the guys in the ring. I only really critique the writing. I'm not going to say, hey, Sami Zayn, can you do a better neck breaker? I mean, I'm not going to say that.
I liked with this match, one of the things I did like is how they played the haluva kick as an important.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. It was really good.
Sami Zayn wins with the distraction from Triple H's entrance. So what ends up happening is that Rollins hits the pedigree. The Triple H's music sounds, everything's going, it's going green. The game is going to come out. And I kind of knew from the very beginning, I'm like, okay, he's not going to come out. Like, Zayn's just going to win, right? But it was a cool spot. It was different, and it kind of had a shocker to the crowd. The crowd started like, started popping for it. So it was good, and it was different. It was not the same old repetitive crap that we've been seeing week to week to week. It was different. It was creative, and they actually thought about this match. So that's good. I'll give them credit for that.
Yes, and then the other element of this is what's Seth Rollins' role in the Royal Rumble? Because he's technically not in it.
That is key.
That is a big question. I think that
maybe
I think either somehow he gets in the match or he like screws somebody. I don't know.
I'm thinking maybe they have some kind of H's in the story or in the match for some reason. I don't know. Maybe screw him over.
I have a theory.
What's that?
He's gonna. Well, not a theory. This is what I would do if I'm scripting this.
Okay.
Which means
not gonna happen. He somehow talks to Shane, and Shane gets him in the Rumble. Shane
That's not bad.
Shane gets him somehow in the Rumble.
Shane gets in the Rumble?
Gets him in the Rumble.
Gets H in the Rumble. Yeah. Okay.
No, gets Seth in the Rumble.
Jesus.
Shane.
So he could just screw him over again?
Shane puts Seth in the Rumble.
Yes, I understand this, but what was
I didn't think I was announcing clearly because I think it came out with Zayn. So whether Shane McMahon puts Seth in the Rumble, not Zayn. Zayn's already in the Rumble.
Okay.
Somehow.
So what's your goal with that? To just
create tension between Shane and Triple H.
Exactly. And then you can build that story up a little bit more.
Okay. I just need to make sure.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't think I was announcing clearly. Enunciating clearly.
Arian has a lot of complaints about where matches were put on the card. He says that there's no way Cena or Styles would have had a match this early on SmackDown. I don't know what it is about Raw, but they're a lot more – the way that they place their segments on their show, they're really messed up. Like, I don't know if they just feel like they can't compete. If they just can't compete with anything else and they should put their best stuff at weird times.
What they do is that they always put a big segment in the top of the hour. So if there's a match that they need to promote, they're going to have it on at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and then have that big segment at the end of the show. And this, by the way, specific time.
But that is also why this is one of my complaints with Raw is they did save good stuff for the end, but they always have a third hour drop off because a lot of their crappy stuff goes to the end of the show and then they just have a great thing at the end. Like they have their best thing at the end, but they have their worst thing.
Their worst stuff is their third hour.
Yeah. That is why there's a huge third hour drop off. And that's why a lot of people complain, it's 3 hours. But if you actually made first hour, maybe a lot of like storyline stuff, building up the matches that are to come in the second and third hour. Maybe you don't even have matches in the first hour. Maybe it's all promos, it's interviews, it's build up, it's pre-show stuff, it's storyline stuff. And then you have second hour with maybe the mid-carders and the lower talent, third hour with the main event, big time guys, and kind of mix them in there. Like maybe you could work 3 hours more successfully than the way the WWE does it. That's all I'm saying.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Although
but
just saying.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's still too long. That's a great plan, but hour and a half, 2 hours is my appropriate show.
I think 2 hours is perfect, But like, if you're gonna have 3 hours and they're not gonna change it, find a different way to do it because obviously it's not working.
Yeah, and they're battling. They're trying to avoid certain shows on Monday with the way that they're set a lot of that stuff up. So it's a bit different than Tuesday, where it's an easier way to place this. And with Tuesday with the cruiserweights, it's after SmackDown, so it's not an element that they have to add into their show. So structurally, SmackDown's easier to place than Raw is because they have a number of different things that they need to get done. And I'm gonna bring up something soon about a placement of something. So keep your mind on there. Arian is his name?
Arian, yes.
Arian, yes.
Okay.
Next, we have the Rollins and Mick Foley backstage segment. Another one where a different area backstage. It wasn't in the locker room. Rollins is screaming at Foley, and he's like, "This is a conspiracy. What the hell? Everybody's trying to screw me and all that stuff. Where's Hunter and all that stuff?" And Foley says, he's going to get the answers. He's going to get the answer. He's trying to calm down Rollins. I like that. Short, and it moved the story forward. I like it. Okay.
I like this.
Cruiserweights. First complaint. What do you think
Your first complaint is there's cruiserweights. Let's be
okay. First complaint, there's cruiserweights. Second complaint, what do you think my second complaint is, Dylan?
Something to do with Jack Gallagher.
There is a new character on the show. What did they do?
Oh yes, this is exactly what I was thinking this entire second. I was like, oh shit, Mitch is gonna ramp because this new guy has no character. And I was thinking about this exactly. Oh god. Okay, they got this.
Okay.
Kid.
For me to dive into this, every single cruiserweight guy that comes on the show, what do? Promo package. Okay, cool. Promo package.
Starts out interesting, right?
Mustafa Ali, new character. Not Muhammad Ali, it's Mustafa Ali. Cool. All right. So we have him doing kicks and flips and things off the top rope. Why?
God.
Why do I like this guy? Why do I hate this guy? Is he a heel? Is he a face? What's his character? Is he a ripoff of Muhammad Ali? I have no idea what's going on.
The only thing I got out of this is that he can do a really cool backflip, right? Where he does like a 450 backflip.
He does a reverse 450, bro.
Right, which is cool, bro. Like that shit's like off the trampoline shit. Oh my goodness, bro, it's gonna be the shit. And then second, after that, all I know is he's Indian. Okay, that's it. Like I just like all I know.
Literally, I have no idea who this guy is. Why does he wear that outfit?
Like I've seen the guy wrestle on CWC, right? But this shit was back in July. I don't hardly remember him because he's shown up like 3 times otherwise.
Why does he have rap music for his? Why?
No, this pissed me off too.
Imagine if Val Venus came out and you didn't know anything about him, and you just hear "Hello, ladies." Everybody just boo the guy.
Everybody would be like, "The fuck is this guy doing?" Jesus.
Yeah, but when they would see him and they watch him, I think that what Val Venus did with that character from it got the crowd involved. Though,
right, but there was a character, Keppel. This doesn't have a character.
But what I'm saying is they had previous vignettes to tell us who this guy is about, so before he even comes out, he's gold.
And they've done this the exact same way with like 4 different wrestlers, like not even including the first night they introduced the cruiserweights.
You're setting your talent up. The problem that I have with Raw is you're setting your talent up to fail. I don't care if you're God. It's so hard to get over when nobody knows what you're.
Well, God had trouble getting over though too. So sorry,
it only took him like 2 or 3 years, and there was like the Attitude Era. You know, shit was hard for God. All right.
Also, God had to go through to the Hunter, the Hearst, and the Helmsley. He had to go through some transitions.
Yeah,
I mean, he was really bad at the beginning. You know,
yeah.
He got buried by the Ultimate Warrior and shit. You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that tag match though that he had with Shawn, I mean,
magnifique.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So yeah, Ali wins with a reverse 450. Cool move. Also, Kev's favorite guy ever, Jack Gallagher, was in the match.
Yes, he was. Now I would like to ask you a question.
I actually like him the most out of everybody on here.
Why Tony Nese?
I like Tony Nese, but they do nothing with him. So therefore, I don't like him.
So he's automatically disqualified.
Yes.
I would like to ask you a question.
What is that?
Well, I think that let's ask this question first, because I'm going to ask the tougher question later. Is it time to decide if we're going to have the cruiserweights on Raw or on just on 205?
Just on 205.
Because it's really tough for them to develop these characters on these two nights when people aren't able to follow it. Because the Cruiserweight 205 is on Raw, quite frankly, is a channel changer. And it's not helping the Cruiserweights to be on this.
Kev, the thing here that I like, with the same thing with the United Kingdom, I was like, I'm all for it if you keep it on the network, because hardcore fans that buy the network are going to want to watch it. So the Cruiserweights, like the Cruiserweight stuff, people enjoyed the Cruiserweight Classic. Why not just have an extended version of that, put it on the network? Don't involve it on Raw. You would have been fine. It would have been over with the fans that enjoy that type of stuff.
And also, it wouldn't have wasted more time on my television, because I would have liked to see a 1-hour television show on the network. You know, I was doing the Cruiserweight Classic. I checked out those reviews. But, you know, I would have been okay with seeing a really cool match. Like, oh, shit, Cedric Alexander.
Maybe it's refreshing for somebody, you know? I don't know. Maybe
I like Cruiserweight wrestling, right? But I also, like, if you were going to make it on the main stage level where you're on my television for Monday Night Raw, don't waste my fucking time if you're not going to do anything.
I'd like to bring up another point that I just thought about, to be honest with you. But I'm going to go back to when this brand split happened. Who was the one that declared the cruiserweights on Raw?
I forgot, actually.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
No, it was not. It was Stephanie. And she has never, ever been with the cruiserweights.
That's a good
It's all about the history making of the women's division.
But because to me, that was playing into, this is one of my criticism, and this is a Raw SmackDown criticism. They haven't played this feud up enough. And this is an opportunity. I think Stephanie would add a lot of character to the cruiserweight division. I really do. I think if she was like involved in some way, managing this, developing this a little bit, I think it would add something to it. But she hasn't been involved, and so it really don't understand why the cruiserweights are on Raw, and I think it's losing a little bit of luster.
Well, she's also supposed to be a manager or commissioner or whatnot, so she's supposed to. That's kind of her thing, is to be with the cruiserweights. She hasn't interacted with them for shit. So
yeah, that's another one of those things that we talk about a lot, where it's lazy writing, but there's an opportunity there.
Okay, Kev, we spent way too much time on cruiserweights.
I've got another question later. I'll save it.
Okay, good. The New Day. Yeah.
Oh, God, what a waste of time this was.
Okay. I am so pissed off with one certain wrestler, like that what they're doing with him. I'm baffled. Okay. The New Day. So they come out and they say the same three lines that they did. Sure. We're gonna win the Royal Rumble, become Universal Champions. Enzo and Cass interrupt. Cool. Enzo and Cass New Day interaction. Let's see where this goes. Kind of funny to see the New Day react to what Enzo is doing. That's cool. That's with their character. People like that. It was kind of funny. Cass says he officially enters the Royal Rumble. Hey, Sami Zayn, why didn't you do that, bro? Okay. Then the Star comes out. We have Rusev come out. Handsome Rusev. He's handsome.
Legend.
Nobody wants to give him any credit for being so handsome. Only Lana sees it.
Oh,
this was great. This was good. This part was good.
And he says, why do you need to put big in front of your name? I never understood why you need to put big in front of your name. And I'm like, you know what? Why do they put big in front of like Really? That was great, Rusev. You're a smart guy.
It's even funnier now that the fact at the end of this segment, Big Show came out. I don't know. I just found
Yeah.
That would made it funnier, actually.
Yeah, so Big Show came out. He's like, "You're named Big too."
Oh, you stupid Americans!
Yeah, he's like, I don't. Stupid Americans don't know any adjectives. So he's like, I'm handsome. I don't put a handsome in front of my name. Everybody knows I'm handsome. And he's kind of been playing with this handsome thing, which I really like. And then Rusev says that he enters the Royal Rumble. Rusev is one of my favorite guys in WWE, if you guys don't notice. I mean, the guy is a star. He should be in a main eventer. He should be a top heel. He's gotten better on the mic. I mean, this year he's been great. The segment with Shawn Michaels, he was the reason, like, he carried that segment. Like, he outshined everybody. And there was
Shawn Michaels.
There was Enzo and Shawn in the segment, and he was the best part.
Although, to be fair, he wasn't.
And Lana. That is a big thing right there.
Shawn wasn't the greatest promo of his time, but yeah.
You know what I mean.
Gavin Stone. By the way, Kevin, I forgot to ask you, when does that movie come out?
That movie has been out. It was out on Friday, January 20th. I mean, I know that many of us were distracted because of a certain speech, but, you know, the resurrection of Gavin Stone did come out on Friday, January 20th at select theaters.
Select theaters. I don't think my theater caught it, so, you know.
What was I going to say? Okay, so we have Big Cass, Big E, Handsome Rusev, and Sexy Lana. So once we have them in the ring, Titus comes out, and Dylan, you can describe what happens.
I'm gonna not say one word. I DM'd to Mitch here, but I was like, God damn it! Why do I care with Titus? Who cares? Good Lord.
Okay, my problem with this is that it, like Kev said, even since he said that it looks like bullying, I've noticed it even more.
Yeah, I have too.
Xavier's like, "Shut up, Titus," and then Kofi's like, "We don't care," and then Big E's like, "Bro, why are you coming out? We don't even want to see you no more, bro."
Like, they're just messing with him. And then, like, oh, we're going to get this 4-on-4 tag match, but you need a 4-parmer. Hoo-hoo! Then they get Braun Strowman. And this part confused the ever-living shit out of me. Because I was like, wasn't this man in a segment with Goldberg and Roman Reigns 2 weeks ago? You know, he hinted at fighting with Taker. A lot. Why is he in this reject of a segment? I love Enzo and Cass. I used to like the New Day. Rusev is GOAT. But this was a stupid and pointless segment on all accounts.
Not necessarily.
How so?
Well, it doesn't not play into other aspects of Braun. It's possible that you could use him in a number of different factors. So I don't think it necessarily destroys him. Probably enhanced this segment a lot more than needed. I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about Titus. I'm officially not talking about Titus anymore. I won't comment on this. It's bullying. What they're doing to Titus is bullying, and it's hypocritical, and I'm not going to talk about it. But I will talk about Braun. It gave a little bit of an enhancement to who he is. Got him to interact with other characters. As much as you want to put him in the main event, he's still not ready to be in the main event, and you need to put him in other areas to continue to develop this guy in terms of a long-term project, which they're seeing as a long-term project, I sense. So I didn't mind that. Thinking of it that way, I didn't mind Braun in this segment. It wasn't a waste for him, and especially who comes in later, that helps add some element as well.
I understand he's not like, oh my god, main eventer, but we need to get. I like the big man aspect of him. I just think he looks like a badass that will kill you.
Sure, but we'll get to that later. But I think you need to you need to have him interact with a number of different people to help develop the guy's character. You're almost putting the guy through some practice. Think of it as practice. This segment was Braun Strowman practice for me.
Did he pass the practice?
We'll see.
So Braun did a power slam and he won.
His finisher is weak as fuck. I agree with Arian.
And yeah, that's what happened.
Big Show.
Can I just
I think I might have fell asleep. I don't know.
I definitely fell asleep.
I think if I fell asleep, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have probably missed anything.
But
then the Big Show comes out.
Yes.
And you see the Big Show because he's a legend and all. Hate on the Big Show as much as you want. He's more over than everybody in the freaking company. All right.
Bro, Big Show's a legend. All right. His match with Sheamus, Hell in a Cell 2012. Fuck off. You don't think that's a good match? Big Show's a legend.
Oh, and I just want to point out
match.
something here. I just want to point out something here, though. This guy, with every step that he went to the ring, turned heel and face so many times.
That is true. I mean,
you didn't even.
He's like almost on Kane level.
Oh no, it's pretty damn close between those two. However, that's all on writing. He's still great. He's still great.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good to see him.
Good
Okay.
man.
Chris Jericho versus Roman Reigns for the U.S. title.
Can we go back to this segment one more time? I do want to bring up something.
Go ahead. I'm just going to put myself on mute because I really don't want to talk about this, to be honest.
Okay, I'm just going to say that 1 year ago, with if you had this combination of people, who would have thought that the New Day were the worst part of it?
That's a great point, actually. Because I was loving the New Day up until
every time I see Enzo and Cass in a segment, I'm like, why the hell are these guys not being pushed?
I don't get it. But I think that's a great point because up until probably August or September of last year, I was really on the hype train with New Day, and now it's just shit. So, woohoo! I don't even want to talk about this segment as well. Jericho Reigns for the title. I had an idea in my mind where they were going to have Reigns win back the title, which would have been fucking
same as me.
Which would have been pointless as a 2-week reign for Jericho, but it would have built into the storyline because then Jericho would have been like, "Bro, why did you put me in this match, Owens? You don't talk for me and shit." Would have built the feud up. Jericho wins the Rumble, have the fight for the Universal title. Again, I don't know if it should be for the Universal title, so we kind of keep that suspension in here with the U.S. title on Jericho still. The fucking destruction of both of these men occur after the match, though. What better way to put over Roman Reigns?
What better way to bury Roman Reigns than put him over?
To kill
# reverse logic.
Okay, so Kevin Owens alluded to earlier in the night that he was going to put Roman Reigns in the cage, right? So there's suspension. You're waiting to see what's going to happen with that. We get to the segment. Owens puts Reigns in the cage, only for Reigns to beat up this man in the cage. In the cage. He pulls Kevin Owens into the door so he can get out of it. What a fucking goof. And then gets out of the cage, throws Owens in it. Owens goes up and Jericho's holding on to it and he's above the air. And guess what? A Superman punch. And then, of course, Cole has to shout this like it's the biggest thing ever. Spare my Roman Reigns. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God.
Okay, the only thing I liked about this was when Kevin Owens was ripping on Byron Saxton. That was it.
Well, why wouldn't you? By the way, Charlie Caruso in the segment. Oh, my
hey, don't spoil it, bro.
We're having a first blood match, guys, for her. But I was just like, before we got to Charlie Caruso, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Who was supposed to cheer for Roman Reigns after we just saw this guy murk everybody in there? And this is supposed to be your main event in 6 days. And it's not the fact that you want to put
You know why it hurts Reigns to do this? Because he's the only guy that doesn't get 50-50 booking.
Exactly.
Everybody else gets 50-50 booking, and when one guy gets good booking, it hurts him. because he looks like Superman with no kryptonite.
Like, if AJ Styles were to face, he faced The Miz earlier this week on SmackDown, right? If it was to be where AJ Styles beat the shit out of Miz every single time, people would start to hate AJ Styles because he would never, ever lose the offensive game. Roman Reigns never gets put down. He had to lose a 2-on-1 handicap match for the U.S. title 2 weeks ago to lose his belt. 2-on-1. And that match was 20 minutes long.
Dylan, how cringeworthy was it watching Kevin Owens? This is what Rick Bad Boy says. It was so cringeworthy to watch Owens wait until Reigns put the lock on and then lock it and everything. It was like, oh my God.
It was so cringeworthy because obviously it takes Reigns 30 seconds to get this lock on. And I'm like, dude, get out of the cage. Oh my God. It was really bad.
Arian says, make Reigns heel. I've been saying that every
Well, we've only been saying that for 5 years.
At this point, it probably has been.
Sorry, that's not on you, Arian.
Did we go to Mania already?
Okay, we're at the best part of Raw. The best interviewer in the company. We got Charlie Caruso.
Woohoo!
Better than Kev's boy over there. She tells Kevin Owens that it's a no DQ match at the Royal Rumble, and Owens says that the match should be canceled. It's not fair because I'm the champ and all that stuff. You know what should have happened? Jericho should have said, "No, bro, you got it," because you're Kevin Owens.
I just forgot that this match was no DQ. That's how pointless.
And the only reason I know what happened is because Dylan told me. I didn't even know Owens and Jericho were in the segment, to be honest.
Charlie Caruso was there. I was just more staring at that than anything. But God, this segment. If it wasn't for her, this would have been an absolute disaster.
This was terrible. This was a disaster. And it's too much. It's. I'm not looking forward to that Owens Reigns match. I'm looking forward to Cena Styles over this one.
You know what it reminds me of, Devil? It reminds me of Cena Orton at Rumble 2014.
The thing with Styles and Cena, though, is I have that feeling that it's something a little bit special.
I think it is special. It's that main attraction.
It's not the greatest feud in the world, but it's like, okay, we have AJ Styles and Cena. These guys were both kind of really big at the same time in different companies. These are this internet guy, and this is the company guy, and they're gonna face each other.
Well, wait a minute. This is the same thing. This is the exact same thing, and not amazing.
But it's not on that. It's not on the.
Not on that level, but this is an internet guy versus company guy. There's another storyline that's been completely wasted here, and this is for a championship that nobody, quite frankly, cares about right now.
I demand a trade. Charlie Caruso, go to SmackDown.
Yes,
because their interviewer is terrible.
Wait, what?
Their interviewer is terrible, bro. Have you heard?
I need at least one thing to watch on Raw, bro. Quit taking shit away. Please. We need the 3 or 4 minutes of Charlie Cruz on this show.
Oh, and we have 5 minutes of Goldberg, Lesnar, and Taker. So, we have a Charlotte interview. And she talks about family tradition, how they've dominated the Rumble, how her dad won the Rumble.
Okay,
and that Bayley is just a viewer and a fan, and that she was born to do this, and that she could have won gold medals in volleyball and been in the WNBA. Really?
Why would you?
I knew that she was good at volleyball. I didn't know she'd play basketball. Charlotte gives her prediction about what she'll do, very Paul Heyman-like. She says that she is the franchise, not the fan, like Bayley. And all I have to say about this, I thought the performance was much better than Bayley. I thought Corey Graves was much better in this one. I was a lot more intrigued because Charlotte does have something behind her where I like the whole WNBA volleyball thing, the connection between the two. I could have done all this, but you're saying that I'm just here because of my dad, but I could have been anywhere I wanted because I'm that gifted of an athlete. Instead, I'm here in the WWE because that's how much I care. I like that.
Yeah.
I
know,
also
I-
like how she played off the. I like how they wrote it so that it would play off with Bayley's and go back and forth. I like that part of it. And like I said, I didn't hate the Bayley thing, but I thought Charlotte's was better.
I don't get the point that they're bringing up Ric Flair over and over and over again if she's just going to slap him every segment. Why does she have to bring up the Royal Rumble thing with Flair? I understand she's a Flair and whatnot, but isn't there supposed to be some animosity? Whatever. The segment was good, question mark. You got over a character. I kind of enjoyed it. It was kind of like in the middle of the pack for me. It was better than Bayley's, but I didn't really get any interest into it. And I'm supposed to be interested in this match. I'm absolutely not. So
I disagree. I actually am more interested in this match because you have developed Bayley's motivation, Charlotte's motivation, in this match, and you've really created you've created a story here about a fan and a wrestler, and I think that will play into the match actually too. I think that Bayley's fanness will be something that will maybe cost her in a few places, where Charlotte's skill will come in to play, like in terms of storyline. I think that will be play into the match. I also liked how they lined it up. So Corey Graves was on Bayley's was on your stage, on your TV's right with Bayley, on the left with Charlotte. So it gave that face-to-face element to it. You can cut both of those together and have another promo added to it. I really actually thought this was a very strong thing that they did.
It was okay. I mean, we've seen it before.
I think that they need to do more of this.
This is basically UFC.
Yeah, and I think they need to do a little bit more of this. They don't need to do a lot more of this, but they need to do a little more of this.
I think they do need to do a little bit more of this, especially when it comes to the wrestlers that aren't very good at off-the-cuff promos. You know? Just like...
these help Brock.
Yeah, these help Brock. Right. These help guys like Reigns. You know, guys that are kind of more comfortable in that sort of environment and not feeding off the crowd and not having to deal with the crowd's reaction and all that stuff. Yeah. I think it helps those sort of people.
Yeah.
I ain't like most girls. No, 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 no.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's worse. That one's worse than Cesaro's. I'm sorry. It's worse.
So we have a Nia Jax squash match. We have Let's Go Jobber Chance. It was very short. That's good. Then what happens is Nia snatches the mic from Bay, and then she says that she would like to. Yeah, I was like, wow, you don't gotta treat her like that. And then she tries to dedicate her victory to the deceased career of Sasha Banks. I thought that was a good line, but like Nia's acting was just
it's terrible.
It's just like
it's very mundane and very hard to.
It's just like she does the same thing, you know.
I want to talk about Sasha Banks' deceased career, and I want to dedicate it. Like, oh my god, get out of here, trash.
Okay, yeah. Next time, Nia, I'm coming for you if you do that again.
Yeah, don't tag me.
Oh. Also, we had the worst selling I've ever seen in my life. I'll just leave it at that.
Good God.
This was worse than Young Bucks selling, by the way.
Oh, idiots at IWC episode 3 ? This was ridiculous. Sasha Banks comes out and is going to stare down Nia Jax. So she hits her with her crutch. By the way, walking on her foot into the ring with one crutch. I don't understand logic. Gets in the ring, beats up Nia Jax with the crutch, does like one of those moves where you duck under so that the bigger person goes through the ropes. And then she dives. And
yes, thank you. That was ridiculous.
I was like, are you serious? What kind of knee injury is this?
I have no comment. I'm literally not going to say anything because I've said it so many times. I sound like Raw repeating myself so many times. Nobody can sell.
It's like Triple H broke it, like whenever he tore his ACL in that 2001 match, and then all of a sudden 5 minutes later, it's like, bro, I'm gonna do a 450. Let's go. Like, what selling is this? Ridiculous. That's all I gotta say about it.
Okay, we're done with that.
Yeah.
We have an Emelina vignette.
Holy shit. Are they going to fucking do this or not?
At least if you have this many vignettes, do a different vignette. Oh
I
my
think this
God.
is the point. This is the point of this segment. Is this? I don't think we're ever going to see her.
What the fucking point is that?
It's literally been like 14 weeks since we saw our debut.
Yeah.
I think this is a troll.
Yeah,
This is a troll.
Yeah.
It has to be. What's the fucking point in waiting 3.5 months for this?
This show
she might be at the
sucks.
Royal Rumble. Who knows?
This show sucks.
But then people, the casual viewers, will be like, well, was she already debuted at the Rumble? Because then they won't watch the Rumble. So, this show is bringing us to tears inside. You can't show that.
Okay.
Like, breaking us down.
If you thought Nia Jax was bad at acting,
Okay.
let's head over to the Cruiserweight division.
I literally commented to Mitch in the segment, bro, what the fuck was that? Honestly.
Bro, we got Rick Swann versus Noam Dar with Alicia Fox. First off, you have a good thing going with Dar and Alicia Fox and Alexander in storyline. Why have Dar lose to Rich Swann, whatever the fuck his name is? Because he dances a lot.
Because, as we saw later on in the segment, Dar is a bitch. He is a bitch. That's his character now. You'll see it later on. He's a bitch.
And then Neville walks out like a badass. I wanted him just to beat the crap out of Swann, but I know that they want to make it sort of even going into the Royal Rumble, so Swann goes over, most likely going to drop the title to Neville. I'm cool with that. But it was the interview that had a problem with, because Alicia Fox just continuously screams, and it's just like, my God. Like, if you can't act and you're a woman who doesn't wrestle, why are you on the show? Just get an actress. You don't need a wrestler to do that.
At least with Bayley and her promo skills, it's not annoying. It's not to the point where I'm like, I'm going to mute the screen. I genuinely am annoyed with what you're talking to me with right now. It is X-Pac heat when I see her acting. Holy, did we get a bad one tonight?
Yep. So this is now time to ask the question here. This is the time to ask the second question.
Okay.
And this is in regards to Neville.
Okay.
Does Neville need the cruiserweights with this current gimmick? Does he need the cruiserweights to go over? Or would Neville, with his current character, survive on Raw or SmackDown?
I think Neville, if you had him bury the frick out of the cruiserweights and just was like literally the king of the cruiserweights, and you just disbanded the cruiserweight division because Neville was too good, then it would work.
All right, so this leads to my second question. And I think we need to have I think it's time to have this honest conversation, because I think all three of us would agree, as much as I enjoy Jack Gallagher, I enjoy some of the matches, but we need to be honest. This isn't working.
No.
And I think
I said this the first week.
When does it end?
If Neville, this is my honest answer. If Neville doesn't get something going here with this division, and it's not going to be his fault, it's going to be the writing's fault. If he doesn't get something going, night after WrestleMania or WrestleMania, cancel it.
This is literally Aaron Rodgers with the Packers defense. All right. Neville is Aaron Rodgers, and the rest of the division is the Packers defense. That's literally what's happening.
And Cedric Alexander's Micah Hyde, and there's some other players that don't mean shit, basically. There you go.
Rich Swann is Clay Matthews.
Overrated.
Yeah,
No, who's a jobber? Because that's Rick Swann. All right.
but I mean, I think we need to have that timeline because you can't give this 3 segments on Raw, 3 or 4 segments on Raw. You give it an hour of its own time that's interfering with another really good show on the WWE network. You've given it enough of its room that it's Talking Smack.
Oh.
I think, yeah. I think that you've given enough room for this to develop and grow, and we should be talking about the progress of the cruiserweight division, and that's not been our topic.
When have we ever talked about the progress of cruiserweights in this division?
But shouldn't that be an alarm bell to somebody here?
Arian said he forgot Swan was champion.
That's a perfect example.
Because you know why? You can't handle this and handle this and handle this. You can't handle this.
Woohoo! I'm sorry, I still like him, but still. Get this. Fuck.
Okay, let's get to Goldberg. Okay, so Goldberg hits his head on the door and starts bleeding.
I rewinded this. Did he actually do that? Because I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Before he comes out every time.
But like the camera didn't show it.
But that's what he does.
But I want to see that. Like I literally when I went in the ring or when he was in the ring, I was so confused. It's like
why there was blood on his head. Yeah,
Goldberg.
And they wiped it
already got water.
His entrance though, like it looked like he like walked a circle.
He's going to give himself a concussion if he does this shit though.
And then so you have his cut, and I'm just laughing because he's having to wipe his head a bunch, and then he blames the crowd.
Oh my god!
Like he screws up a couple times, and then he blames his crowd. But I'm like, somehow it's still good.
He's never been a good promo cutter, but
no, never. But he's still decent.
No, he was
great
tonight. I wasn't feeling it. He was fumbling around like a motherfucker tonight.
Yeah, the blood was distracting.
Yeah, it was,
and I think it was distracting him too.
Yeah, it's understandable, but like, oof, it was not a good start.
So Goldberg says, "I'll stop at nothing if it means I have to spear and jackhammer 29 guys in the Royal Rumble. I'll do it." And I'm like, that would be amazing if that actually happened.
All 30 in the ring, so you can just have him spear all 30.
He just comes first, and he just jackhammers and spears every single guy.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
And then we hear ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so do we have Paul? Is Paul here?
Paul here? We don't have a producer, so it's Paul. Freaking name. I'm back. And I'm here to tell you, Brock Lesnar is here. He's going to conquer Goldberg. He's going to conquer your precious Undertaker. He's going to conquer everyone in sight. All your newbies, all your jabronis, your jamokes. Every single one of them will lay waste to Brock Lesnar.
Paul, I have a question for you.
Yes, Kevo, your question.
Paul, how do you feel personally about coming out without any theme music? Because I actually enjoy that. I enjoy how you come out with your ladies and gentlemen.
It gets the crowd very excited to hear about Brock and myself. So, I do like it quite a bit. Everybody's very dramatic with their entrance themes. I like to be old school. So I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Paul, did you want Brock to get in the ring and dismantle Goldberg, or do you feel like he should wait until Sunday to do that?
Well, Brock was very hot-headed after Goldberg called him a dumbass, and I feel the same way for him. However, the Royal Rumble match is not on January 23rd. No, it's January 29th, 2017. And I want Brock Lesnar to kick his ass on January 29th because that is when the Rumble match happens, and that's when it matters. So, I got to wait till then.
Paul, did the Undertaker's appearance distract to what Brock's big goal was?
I think it did. I think it got a little bit under his skin. But remember, Kevil, Brock has beaten Taker. Taker did not beat Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Lesnar did that. So Lesnar is not intimidated by Taker. His one goal is he's got two goals: to lay slain of Goldberg and to win the Royal Rumble match.
Thank you, Paul. We love you.
Love ya, guys.
All right. So I just want to say this. No matter how many times Goldberg messed up what he was trying to say, the three guys that were in the ring tonight sold the Royal Rumble more than 4 weeks of build-up than the entire roster. 1 5-second appearance from Undertaker, a stare down with Lesnar and Goldberg got me more invested for the Royal Rumble than the entirety of the build-up from Raw.
That's actually negative points for Raw, even though they got these three men in the ring. That's more negative.
Which was great. Like, it was cool to see. It was awesome. The shocker of the Undertaker being there was excellent. But why do you need these three guys to sell your entire show?
Can I say?
Well, I have a couple of things, a couple of questions here.
Okay.
So am I left to, because I was pretty excited when I saw it, and it was a cool moment. And it's the first time that The Undertaker and Goldberg have been in the same ring together, by the way. Mm-hmm. Tonight was that first night. Let's go back to last week, where we had the cluster mess of the end without Brock Lesnar, who should have done some throwing around as well. And we should have been left at the end with Brock Lesnar being at the top, I think. Are we left to believe that one of these three people are going to win the Royal Rumble?
That was kind of like at the end of the show, like towards the middle when they did the whole Jericho thing. I was like, maybe Jericho will win. But then when I got to the end, it's like maybe these three guys will be the last three. And that's why they're doing this. But maybe it's also just to mess with the viewer's head, you know? Maybe it's like, oh, what's the possible scenarios here? Is it going to be Goldberg, Taker? Maybe it's Taker versus Goldberg. Maybe it's Lesnar versus Goldberg. Maybe it's Lesnar versus Taker. Maybe it's somebody else, and this is just a distraction. I don't know. That's why this Royal Rumble is exciting. But the reason why it's exciting is because you have these three guys in the match that make all the different things possible.
Well,
go ahead. Yeah. The two biggest segments and two best segments of the night included 4 men that were over the age of 38 years old. That's depressing on very many levels. And I know Triple H was not there, but he was still part of the main segment. So I'm going to keep that in mind.
I'm left to believe that one of these three are not going to win. Actually, I left my thinking that they're going to go in a different direction. I was thinking last week after SmackDown that the way that they promoted the Elimination Chamber was, well, it's obvious it's going to be a Raw guy that wins. But after tonight, I'm thinking that what might happen is it's going to be either a return or something we've never had before, which is a debut win the Royal Rumble.
Really?
Ability that you could look at a guy like Samoa Joe winning the Rumble. Now, let me play this out. Let me play this out. Because
it doesn't work.
It does work. It can work. It can work because you have the pay-per-views in between. So you could do Goldberg Owens at Fastlane, or you could do possibly. Let me throw this out here for you. Because it was the WWE that pointed out that it was the Goldberg, the Undertaker that have met for the first time. So let's put this aside. You could do Goldberg Lesnar at Fastlane, which leads to Goldberg Taker at Mania, or you could do your Goldberg Lesnar at Mania, which is possible. I still think is probably going to be the main event, but it's probably you're looking at a guy like Balor Undertaker, which leaves you with the possibility with Samoa Joe, you can negotiate, have him on Raw the next night after that. He then decides where he's going to go. You put him in. You've already got him in as a placeholder for WrestleMania. I think you put Samoa Joe on SmackDown. You have him as a placeholder with the Elimination Chamber, and you could go with a Styles or maybe a Cena. I think Styles probably would be a more appealing match for
to me, man, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I like Samoa Joe. I don't think it's doing any favors if he wins the Royal Rumble.
I have absolutely so many problems with that, and it's not because of your booking. I like the.
It's not because of the booking. The booking's fine. It's mostly to do with Samoa Joe. I don't think. The guy, if you're going to make waves and have somebody new, he's not a star. I mean, you're putting a TNA.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. But
he's a guy from 10 years ago that was in the main event. Now he's in the main event at WWE. How we have gone backwards.
That's I don't. What I'm saying.
No, it's not. It's not backwards, Mitch. It's forward. But it's a new person, and it brings in another, because I think one of the stories in this isn't just the Undertaker, Goldberg, Lesnar element. We know that there's going to be guys either returning or debuting. We know this first.
I'd rather have Balor win.
I don't know if
my problem.
So how do you get Balor? How do you get the Balor to Undertaker then?
You don't need Balor Undertaker. Balor reigns.
Oh, I'm not even remotely interested in Balor Reigns at WrestleMania. No, the only way that I see, if the Undertaker's not facing Cena, the only two other opponents that I could see is possibly Goldberg, but more logically Finn Balor.
Taker, Cena.
Well, they don't want to do Taker, Cena for some reason.
Taker, Cena, Goldberg, Lesnar, Balor, Reigns, Styles, Joe. And whatever.
Who on earth is going to be interested? Who's out there interested in Balor Reigns?
What would you want for the Universal title?
I think you either go Goldberg Lesnar.
Who's winning when are they winning the title?
Goldberg or Lesnar gets Goldberg's scheduled at Fastlane already. So you're probably going. You could go Goldberg Owens or Goldberg Reigns at that point in time.
I would rather have Reigns Balor than Goldberg Owens.
Can we go with an alternative option and just give up on the Universal title and Raw altogether? Because it'd be
that's not. Unfortunately,
okay. You know what I want? Fuck it. Rock Austin 4.
Yes.
Austin can barely walk, but you
pitched Brock and Michaels at this year's Mania. I don't understand. I don't see why Austin.
You said Austin can't walk.
He can. He can wrestle. I didn't.
No, but I mean,
no.
Jericho
Owens isn't main event. Listen to me here. I got a picture.
All right.
Okay.
Picturing it now.
McGregor.
Okay.
Punk. Main event
for wrestling.
WWE title. Main event.
Ratings, bro. Ratings.
That's much better than probably some.
And then they can have Brock Lesnar versus Batista on their UFC fight, and it just can be interpromotional. Oh.
MMA comes and invades WWE. Punk McGregor.
This man will never come back. I'm almost 100%.
That's not happening. That's a great for 2K18. That's a great 2K18 video game storyline.
You know how much ratings we would get if we had MMA invasion?
Do you know the UFC is not even remotely going to allow that?
Ronda Rousey. Friggin' Lesnar.
I don't want to see her ever again on our television screens. No.
Sign Lashley. I don't care. Sign Batista.
Sign that man Lashley.
Get him in there.
But I mean, let's be serious for a moment here, because your idea is not serious.
But it would get the best ratings.
I'm not arguing about ratings. It's just not going to happen. Where I'm trying to deal with what we are currently dealing with at this point in time. I think you've got a number of different options, but the intrigue is the debut. And the other thing is, I don't know. To me, I think the question to me would be with Balor or Joe. I don't know. One of them should debut in the Rumble, but one of them should be saved until the night after WrestleMania. So I'm not sure we're going to get Balor and Joe both at the Rumble. I'm not convinced of that.
There's officially 9 spots open left in the Rumble. There's 21 already on there. So there's some room there. But my problem here,
but you got to be strategic about
stopping me. No,
that boy needs to be in there. But let me say something. I don't think you can debut a superstar so quickly into the main roster. These casual viewers will be like, who the hell is this dude?
It depends on how you do it. So if you put Joe 2, which is my idea, I have the Miz 1, Joe 2 in my Royal Rumble pool. If you put Joe 2 and he lasts the whole time, you've established that the guy has some credibility.
But what's his character?
If you put him in, he dominates the Royal Rumble. He tosses people out. Maybe let's toss this out here.
Main event.
Let me talk.
Brock. Co-main event. McGregor, Punk, Rousey, Charlotte, Batista, Reigns.
This is fucking trash.
Okay, anyway, I'm trying to be serious here.
Come on, go.
If you build Joe, let's toss a couple of scenarios here. But he tosses everyone out. He gets the most eliminations. Even he eliminates a Strowman or a Corbin.
Vince, Dana.
Can you stop, please, Mitch? Can you stop?
Chill.
You put him in a situation where he establishes himself as a guy that has dominated. You're going to develop a guy that people are going to at least be intrigued about. You put him on Raw. You put him on SmackDown. You develop an opportunity for people to negotiate which brand he's going to be at. You do it for 1 or 2 weeks. You've got something interesting going forward to WrestleMania.
I can't get behind Samoa Joe. That's the only problem I have.
I'm just putting that out there as an option because I think that there's a number of different ways that you can go, but I'm not sure that I left here thinking, like as a couple hours after Raw, that I'm left thinking that Goldberg, Lesnar, and Taker are winning the Rumble. I think that there's still a number of different ways that you can go, and I'm not concluded that these are the final 3, but who knows?
Who knows?
That's the
good thing. That's the positive thing going into the Rumble.
Yeah, and I mean, even WrestleMania 32, it's not out of the realm of possibility that I would not go. I wouldn't be opposed to going back to that Brock Taker because it's in New Orleans and it's the night where the streak ended.
Oh, for 34.
Yeah,
34.
30. Yeah. Sorry, wrong number there. But going back next year to Taker, Brock, there's that option there as well. So I mean, you could go Taker Goldberg.
Yeah,
Taker.
I'd be cool with Taker Goldberg.
I would definitely be cool with Taker Goldberg.
And it looked good. I don't know. The look of the 3 in the ring was great, but I wasn't left thinking that these are the final 3 options for the Royal Rumble. Is my point. Thinking about it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think there's guys that can win it. I mean, take those 3. I think Jericho can win it. I think who else on Raw? I don't think Strowman can win it. I think they've put that out the window. I think Balor can win it. SmackDown-wise, I guess.
I think The Miz is a dark horse.
I think The Miz. I mean, I'd love if Bray Wyatt won it, but it's not going to happen.
I mean, and Orton is not out of the realm of a possibility here in any way, shape, or form.
I just don't know how they would book that.
So he turns on Bray.
They're it would only work if they're the last 2 guys.
Well, he fights Bray at Elimination Chamber. You got the Elimination Chamber as an element there too. You could go Styles, Orton, that I think would interest a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that Orton's not out of the. I think that they've been strategically keeping Orton very quiet intentionally, but I think that there's now the opportunity for Orton to burst in, and Paul, if you bring Paul back, he did intentionally bring back Orton. You also, let's not forget this too. People forgot the SummerSlam angle there. You still can go back to Brock and Orton.
Can you?
At some point, yeah, sure you can. Can you? Are you mocking me?
Lesnar destroyed Orton. What's the interest level?
Orton wants that fight back. I still think there's some room to play back on that.
Orton would have to be a really good face. I just don't see that.
We'll leave that to another day. But I think we should wrap it up. So this has been our Raw review for January the 23rd, 2017. I'm still hoping for that Punk McGregor. But anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. Pretty crazy ending to Raw. Other than that, we all thought it kind of stunk. We want to give our grades. Let's start off with Dilly Vanilli with your grade out of 10 from -10. What do you got?
Yo, I'm going to give this Raw episode grade of... you know what? -2. No, fuck it. -7. This show is just on a level always annoying. If there's one word to describe the show other than bad or trash or garbage or shit, it's annoying. It's just every single week. Even coming into the go-home show, your goal is to sell me on the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble match, like Mitch said, they had to put 0.0% effort into what they had to do to sell me on that match because it's the Royal Rumble match and you've got like 18 different legends in there. The rest of the show did not get me interested. I don't care one freaking single ounce about Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. I'm okay with Charlotte and Bayley. I'm not excited, but I'm okay, which is not a good thing. The Cruiserweights, who gives a fuck, although I want to see Neville win. And the rest of the shows on the pre-show, which is 2 hours long, the show should not be 6 hours. That is absolutely ludicrous. That is Chinese torture in every sense of the word. I do not care about this show. However, I do like the returning legends, which you also could say is a negative because they're supposed to build stars, and this company doesn't know how to. -7 out of 10. Also for the fact that I almost fell asleep 3 different times in this show, which I didn't say till now. Almost fell asleep 3 different times, and I wasn't even tired. Like, I wasn't like, I didn't have a hard day at work. I trained and watched 2.5 hours of online videos. This show is NyQuil for you. If you are sleep deprived, go watch this show. -7 out of 10. Rumble, you better get me something good, or I'm going to be really fucking sad coming into the week.
Kev will get this joke. Maybe you'll be like Jerome McGinley in those commercials. I will give this show a -5 out of 10. I'm going to give 2 extra points for seeing those 3 guys in the ring. Other than that, I've expressed how I feel about the show. Watch SmackDown. It's better. It's good. It's actually entertaining, and it's a TV show. That's it.
I'm going to give this show a 3.16 out of 10 in honor of Mitch's shirt. I think there's a lot that I mean, yes, they have they had the 2 great elements in the returns. The interviews were great. But it's just the Jericho Owens Reigns is stale and too much. I'm shocked at the demise of the New Day. I continue to be stunned at how such a great act has fallen so far for grace. The abuse of Titus, the mess that the Cruiserweights is, and I'm not convinced that Mr. Neville is necessarily saving it. There's just a lot more questions that I'm left with than answers, unfortunately. 3.16 out of 10. I will never give it a 0.
The only thing that Raw has better than SmackDown is their interview girl. That is it.
Okay, I'll give it a -6 for Troy Caruso being here.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this episode of the WWE Raw review from the Bottom Line View. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video. Really appreciate it if you like it. Let us know what you like, don't like. Any comments, let us know. Any future topics, be sure to comment. And so look at the channel. If you are new, we have lots of wrestling content on the channel. Also, a lot of NFL content, especially around Super Bowl time. We will have a lot more wrestling once the NFL ends, so be sure to tune into that stuff. Guys, anything to plug or talk about before we get out of here?
My schedule is very over the place, so I'm not exactly going to plug anything. Takeover San Antonio review will be Saturday. I'll have both these boys on the review, so check that out. That'll be 100% sure. Royal Rumble's on Sunday. Hopefully.
I'll have predictions out probably Thursday for the Royal Rumble.
I like it. Hopefully they come through with a show that is watchable and has some good predictions going into Mania. There's some stuff coming out before Super Bowl. We'll try to get out there. I know Mitch will. I'll try to get my best out there. But yeah, stay tuned for the Bottom Line View. Good stuff's coming on the way, and we're putting out a lot of bangers for Mania.
We'll have a podcast. Did not put up a podcast today. We'll have a podcast out tomorrow morning. It should be out early. You're doing podcasts 5 days a week. We'll be on an NXT review. I think I don't know when we're starting NHL reviews, but that will be coming soon. Lots to talk about with the NHL, specifically with the trade deadline coming up. Canadian
Trent's first introduction to the new NHL format on the Bottom Line View will be out tomorrow.
Okay. And yeah, lots of just follow me on KVOLE. I have lots to say.
All right, guys. It's been Mitch, Kev, Dylan. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.